welcome back. Now that we are in the migrate phase, um, just like what we did for the application discovery where we created a separate user, I am going to create a user just for the migration, and I'm going to name it as MGN user, which is nothing but migration user. And I want him to also have the programmatic access, that this person cannot log into my AWS console, but he can access the services. And once I'm done with the migration, I'm going to remove this user. Simple. Next, I don't want him any other permissions. I'll just go ahead and I don't want any existing permissions. Instead, I'll just look for a policy called AWS migration agent policy v2, and migration agent policy must be an updated version. Next, create the user, and the same thing that we did, I have the access key and the secret key for this user also, just like I had for just like how I added for my ADS user, I also need to have for MGN user. This is the access key, and this is my secret key. So I'll keep it handy. I'm just gonna close it. Guys, you got to remember something. Now that I've created the MGN user, if I go to security credentials, I cannot see the key and the security secret. I mean this access key and the secret, because it is only once. Like either you have to save it locally, or as soon as you move out of that screen, you can't. If you need, you have to create another access key. Okay, please remember, because people think that anyways I have created the user. If I come to that user, I can get the access key and secret key. So it clearly states, if you lose or forget your secret key, you cannot retrieve it. Instead, create a new access key and make the old access key inactive. So this is what I have it currently. I'll just make it inactive and then create a new one if I need it. Simple as that. Okay, so let's go back to our server. I have my I'll just zoom in or make this a bigger one so that you can see it clearly. So the user is created. I have also saved my credentials. Now what we need to do is, before we install the migration agent, there are some prerequisites that we need to do. I'll have to prepare my migration service to be ready to accept the data from these 4 servers. Okay, so what we do is we go to that service called application migration service, and I'll just minimize this and open this. Application migration service. So this is called MGN. So once I go to the application migration service, I go to the settings, and you also have an option called replication template or replication settings. So what you do is go to the edit template. I'll have to select where do I want my staging area, like all the data that I'm copying, I'm going to copy from the source. What is the staging area, or what is the what is the location where I want to store it? Okay, so I'll just select it as target public. And do I have staging somewhere here? No, I'll just select target public. That's it. Okay, and I'll leave the instances, maybe replication server. I'll increase the size so that it's slightly faster. Okay, and leave everything else the default, except my except these two options, which are the replication server as well as the subnet. I'll leave everything else as default. I will not make any changes. Disk size, I'll leave it as the fastest one as well. Great, I'm just saving the template. So now the data that will be migrated, all that staging activities will be done as per what I have specified here. Okay, now we are good with this as well. So let's go to the next one. which is where the actual migration kicks in. That is basically installing the agent. So just like the discovery, agent installation also involves 2 or 3 steps. So we got the credentials of the user. The next step is to download the installer and run the installer. Simple as that. Okay, and this is a Python script, guys, .py. You can see it's downloading .py and initializing a py. So there is one possibility that you might encounter an issue when you're doing it on a real-time migration. That is, if your machine, these 4 machines already has Python installed, hence these scripts will run perfectly fine. There is no problem. But if your machine that you're planning to migrate does not have Python, this might fail. Simply just go ahead and run or install the Python using sudo apt install python or pip install python, some package manager, whatever the operating system that you have. Just install the Python and then we are good to go. So now I'll go ahead and download, or first thing is I'll hit download it. Okay, download it, and download it. Great. Now let's go ahead and install the file that we just downloaded. Sudo python AWS replication installer init. Enter. Okay, it's asked me for the AWS region name, US West 2, and it will ask me for the access key, which I will enter now, and it asks me for the password or the secret key. Great. Okay, it's verifying if I have access. Okay, it's looking for the volumes that needs to be replicated, and it will list me that these are the volumes that are there. Do you want to replicate all the disks? I'll say yes. Great. Perfect. All volumes for replication were successfully identified. It's downloading the agent. Now I'm going to do the same things on my other 3 machines. Oh, I think it's, we haven't, have we downloaded? Yes. West 2. Great. And I'll select all the disks. That's it. Now let's see. Okay, you can see it's all finished successfully. Okay, so we have downloaded it right already, so we just have to run it. We don't have to redo the same things. I'm doing it simultaneously just to keep the video short, but you don't have to do it. You can just do it at your convenience, whatever the way that is convenient for you. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 machines are simultaneously getting installed with the migration agent that I downloaded from. But where do you get the download link from? Because you have that workshop studio, you had the link handy. Otherwise, where do you download it from? Simple. It's just the documentation. AWS MGN agent install. Replication agent install installation replication blah blah blah. Just application migration service. So installation instruction, Linux, the same things. The 2 commands: sudo python replication install py and the downloader link. Just replace the region with the region that you are trying to replicate into. US West 2 is my case. If you are trying to migrate to Mumbai, Asia AP hyphen South hyphen 2 or something. So just be careful on where you're downloading it into, so that, and then you can install the same using the command that I just used. So everything that I'm doing is not directly from the workshop, but because it's more of a training video. I didn't want to do this real-time troubleshooting or research in front of you, but I'm telling you every information that you would need to support this migration can be readily available from the documentation. Okay, so it says there's something that's not working. Okay, so what happens is probably because the data has to come, all the information is being pushed into the same staging server at the same time. It can actually happen. It says stalled, but technically okay, it says replication progress failed to launch the replication server. So what happens is that M5 large that I selected may not be available in my subscription. So let me just go ahead and change it right away. Uh, Guys, I don't want to edit these because um, otherwise if you experience these kind of issues, then you wouldn't like you would have to keep looking for options. So it's best that I just do it this way. And okay, I've just saved it. Okay, so you can see everything is stalled, all the four. It says launch replication server, it's failing, it's failing, it's failing. So what is the possibility? Simple. Either I don't have access to launch that instance in my region or in my account, probably because of some quota. So it's no big deal. We will select all the four. Stop the data. Disconnect from service. Okay, now I'll just go ahead and archive it. And okay, once I've archived it, we just have to go ahead and reinstall the agent. Okay, so it's asked me for the access key. The same thing, just repeat the access key and password. Done. And then put the password, which is the secret key. Password, because it's secure, it's prompting, or it's not you're not able to see the password, but it is getting pasted. Okay, there we go. I've just reinitiated it, and let's see if it works this time. So I told you there are two possibilities why it didn't work, right? That it kept stalling. One, because the account permissions or the quota. The other is we are doing it through a migration workshop. In that migration workshop, maybe that M5 series or M4 series was not allowed value. The T3 small was the default value that was there, and I went ahead and modified it just to show you guys on how it works. But now I've set it back to the T3 small. Let's hope it works. So we'll wait for a minute. Okay, yeah, it's still installing. It's not done. So once it successfully installs, then we can actually see the servers. That's the source server. Okay, all successfully finished. There we go. Now I can see 3 servers. One more will come up. Great. So now it's waiting for the initial sync to complete. Depending on the size of the data, it can go for hours, days, or even weeks. First thing is you need a very good internet connection, at least 20 to 50 Mbps. But since we are moving from AWS to AWS, that's not a problem. But when you're doing it from on-prem to AWS, your internet bandwidth is primary the prerequisite that depends on how far or how soon can you complete the replication, size of your data, the size of your disks, all of these plays a part. So now that the sync has initiated, it can go up to 1 hour in our case. So once it is completed, I'll start the next video once the initialization or the initiating is complete, data sync is complete, and everything must be ready and healthy. And we will start the next process of failover. Okay, thank you.